Well, good afternoon. This is the 7th week that we've been at this, and yeah, it is a little later today than normal. I had to go out and do some things for important people in my life, so I'm a little later today, but I do wish you a good Monday afternoon as we continue on in our homes and seeking to stay healthy. I've been thinking over the weekend, of course, of the people that are important in all of our lives, and as I was reflecting on that and thinking about the great future that we have as God's people, I was drawn to the end of the Bible. You know, in Revelation 22, there is a great invitation there. It's Jesus saying to us, "Come." He invites us to come to Him. And I love that invitation that he gives. And just prior to that, in the early part of the chapter, there is the description of a river that flows through the city of God. And on the banks of that river is a tree. And you know me by now to know that I enjoy rocks and trees and rivers and all those great things that God has given to us. But let me read to you about that river and that tree. It's Revelation 22, and there at verse 1, the angel showed me the river of the water of life, as clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb, down the middle of the great street of the city. On each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. No longer will there be any curse. The throne of God and of the Lamb will be in the city, and his servants will serve him. Isn't it great to know that promise? And there no longer will be any curse. We know that we dwell under the effects of sin, but those effects of sin will eventually be completely gone. And we can look forward to that tree of life that is for the healing of the nations, for all those who will put their trust in Christ. Well, I've got a story for you today, sent in by one of my friends out there, and I thank you for sending this in. It's a perfect one today because it combines a cat, a pastor, and a grocery store. Three things that are close to me. And so this was from Dwight. Dwight said recently he told a story about his pastor. The pastor of his church had a kitten that climbed up a tree in his backyard and was afraid to come down, as kittens often will be. So the pastor coaxed and got the milk and all those things that we try to do to get the kitten to come down, and no sir, the kitten was not going to come down. And the tree was small, it wasn't really sturdy enough to climb, so the pastor got a wise idea. He decided that he'd tie a rope as high as he could in the tree, and then attach it to his car and pull the tree until it bent down far enough so he could reach the kitten. Seemed like a good idea. So he did that, and all the while he's watching in his mirror, checking his progress, making sure that everything's good, and he figured if he just went a little bit further, the kitten would be close enough for him to reach. So he moved the car forward just a little bit further, and then it happened. The rope broke. Well, you know what happens with a little sapling of a tree when pulled down like that. It took off. It went boing, just like a catapult. And it was a catapult at that point, because the tree sprung back into place and away went the kitten. Well, the pastor felt awful. He walked all over the neighborhood seeing if he could find the kitten. He asked people if they saw his kitten, and nobody had seen this stray little kitten. And so he prayed, "Lord, I commit that kitten into your keeping." And he just went about his business thinking that was it for that. Well, a few days later, the pastor was in the grocery store, and he met one of the members of his church while he was there. And as he was there with her, he realized that she had an amazing amount of cat food in her cart. And that really amazed him because he knew that she wasn't a cat person. She didn't want a cat. And so he asked, why are you buying cat food when you hate cats so much? She replied, you won't believe it. And then she went on to tell her about how her little girl had been begging her for a cat. And her response was, if God gives you a cat, then we'll have to keep it. Well, she told her pastor that the little girl went out in the yard, got down on her knees, started to pray and ask God for a cat. And then, to her amazement, she watched as this little kitten came sailing out of the clear blue sky and landed, paws outspread, right in front of her daughter. Well, God is an amazing God, and He has an incredible sense of humor. Hope you have a great day. God bless you.